Hello, everyone. This is Stacy. Welcome to the landing.
Hello, everyone. Today's episode is a special one for me because I am sitting down with someone I have known my whole life, my dad. In this conversation, Daddy shares a part of his story that I actually don't know a lot about because it all happened before I came along. We're talking about his time in the Coast Guard, the stations where he served, and the experiences that shaped those years, including his time spent at Cape Lookout. I've always loved spending time with my dad, and he is still one of the coolest people I know. What made this conversation especially fun was hearing stories I had never heard before, little moments, memories, and pieces of history that connect not only to his life, but to the Down East community as well. I hope you enjoy listening to his stories as much as I enjoyed hearing them. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the landing. I have someone here with us that is becoming a regular, and I love it. I'm going to get him back here as much as I can. He keeps telling me that there's nothing else he can tell us about. He's told us everything. And then yet today, there are stories that he has yet to share. So I'm excited. So please, kind sir, tell us your name and who's your crowd and where are you from?
I am Wayne Davis from Harkers Island, and I've really got a bunch of family. I got 3 girls, and the one that's most aggravating is Stacy. You know her. But I got 2 more girls that's pretty good to me. But anyway, I got a wonderful wife, and I just got a lot of friends. You wouldn't believe the friends I've got.
Yep, you heard it right, folks. Daddy is back. But this is a conversation that I'm really excited about because it's stuff that I've heard throughout my life, like here and there, but I've never really sat down and had a conversation just about Daddy's time in the Coast Guard. So this is going to be a treat for me as much as it is for you. So, Dad, I'm going to now ask you to just give us a little background of what led up to you going into the Coast Guard, and then, of course, share some stories and about your time in the Coast Guard. So go ahead.
I can do that now. Okay, I'm ready. Well, the reason I went in the Coast Guard, I got married in 1963. And I went in the Coast Guard in 1965. And I thought I was going to starve to death. I got out of high school when I started running the fish house. And I don't know, the fish heard about it or something, but they left. They just left. And so I had to do something different. So I decided to go in the Coast Guard.
So the fish house wasn't as productive as it needed to be, huh?
Now, you know, if you know anything about the fish house, it's a lot of other things. Some years it's good and some years it's bad, and I just happened to have some bad ones. Mm-hmm. And I went in the Coast Guard not knowing that I was not going to retire out of the Coast Guard because I knew I was getting out the day before I went in. But anyway, I'm glad I went in. Wouldn't take nothing for it, and I recommend it to anybody.
Mm-hmm. How did it go when you were making that decision? Like, was Mama in on the decision making, or like I would just like to hear about that. Do you remember having the conversation with her?
Well, I did some other jobs in between after you know, when the fish house wasn't doing that great. Even in Atlanta, at one time we went over at Stacy's over a place in Moorhead. Stacy Davis had a fish house. We went over there and cleaned fish, trying to make a little bit of money. I worked with a veneer plant one time. I didn't work very long to the places because I knew I wasn't going to be, you know, very important there, so I got out. But anyway, I went in the Coast Guard, and I was always glad I did.
Yeah, and so was Mom, I'm sure.
So tell us, you went to Cape May to boot camp?
I did. I went to Cape May. I remember very well when getting on that bus, and it was not a very good feeling. But anyway,
Where did they pick you up?
They picked me up in New Bern on a bus. Or they didn't really pick me up. I had to go there and get on it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But anyway, I went on the bus, and when we drove up to the Cape May to the gate, I knew right then that everything was a normal world. It was different in there. In fact, at the time, I don't know about now, but the people the men that met us at the gate was not even Coast Guard men. They were Marines. They had the Marines that were really working on you. You know, they didn't talk very nice to you, but they didn't treat you. But that was part of it, learning that. But anyway, they cut you higher, and they give you these different clues, and and they tell you what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. But you get through it all right, make it out.
Do you remember what company you were in?
I was in Captain Charlie. And one of the things about that was too, I was in there, one of the boys, somebody stole my pea coat. And the one that was in charge of our company, the second in charge, I'll never forget him, Owens was his name. He was a second class bosun mate. And he let me have his coat, and I wore that second class coat one time. I was out there marching and everything. The other boys couldn't figure it out. Said, "You must be pretty dumb. They put you back in boot camp, But anyway, that was pretty cool. But
that was nice of him.
That was very nice. He was just the nicest fellow you could meet.
Oh, wow. So how long were you in boot camp?
I was in there about 13 weeks, I think it was. 13 weeks. Very long weeks. Yeah. But it wasn't bad. The worst part about the thing that I disliked the worst about it was getting up mornings early, and it was cold. The ocean froze. Part of the ocean froze.
Because you were there, what month?
It was in January, I think.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Or December, maybe.
So,
but anyway, it was in the wintertime, and the ocean part of it froze over. And the first thing we did when we got up, we go to the swimming pool. And you go out to the swimming pool, when you swim, you get wet, and all of a sudden they say, "Everybody out." And you get out quick. If you had your clothes on right, it didn't make no difference. And it was cold. And we had to go over to the galley then and stand outside waiting to get in to eat breakfast. And it was a saying that they had there to get up tighter. It said, "Make your buddy smile." But anyway, and you was really interested in doing that.
Oh my goodness, I can't imagine.
It was bad.
So when you were in boot camp, did you eat well?
I did. I tell you what, you didn't get anything between meals. It wasn't, you couldn't go to the store and get no snacks or nothing. And you eat, it's about everything was on your plate. You eat it because you knew you wasn't getting nothing for a certain length of time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. So when you were graduating from boot camp, did you know when you left where you were going, or how did that work? When did you get your orders?
Yeah, you find out just before you get out, so you know where you're going at. And but it was I found out that I went to Portsmouth, Virginia on a Madrona, a buoy tender, ice breaking buoy tender, and that's where I went. And it was kind of dirty work.
What did you have to do?
Cleaning buoys,
I said, what did you have to do?
Yeah, well, the tender I was on, we tended to all the buoys in Pacific Coast in Chesapeake Bay. And we had to keep all of them up, and you had to, if they got bad shape or anything, you needed painting, we had to pick them up, put them on deck, clean them up, get the barnacles and stuff on them. It was just wasn't a very clean job, but it was good. It was, but it wasn't that bad at all, that part of it. I remember one of the things you had to do when you go to one of them old big buoys, somebody had to jump on it. You didn't throw a line or nothing on it. You jump on it, and then you throw them a line, and they would tie the line to pull it to the boat. And for some way, I don't know, but they always sent me the one to jump on the buoy.
Of course.
And it would be all kind of scales and stuff mess on it. You slide around there, but I never felt overboard. But I thought I was going to.
Did you always land your?
I always made out pretty good, but yeah, but it was a job. I'll tell you about one thing that was let you know what kind of a job it was. we had a safety officer standing up on the forecastle, and a lot of people don't know, but they would coil the rope up on and make a circle out of it up on where you would walk. And he was looked down at us working, and in case if anything was wrong, he would tell us. He was our safety man. Mm-hmm. And one day, we were working unusual, and we heard him squall. He hollered right out. And he had stepped on the side of that and rolled and broke his ankle. He was our safety man now. He broke his ankle. And I remember they had to call a helicopter to come get him and take him. And when he came back, we made fun of him pretty much.
I bet you did. I bet you did. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But,
so how long were you on that buoy tender?
I was on that buoy tender a year.
Okay.
1 year. Want me to tell you how I got off the buoy tender?
I would love for you to.
I had not had orders. I knew I was going to be sent somewhere else. And Pete, which a lot of people know as Sylvester, he's my best friend. And anyway, he was stationed at Cape Lookout. And he let me know there was a boy to stay at Cape Lookout. He'd been there a year. If you'd been there to your station a year, you could mutual and you could trade. Mm-hmm. And he had been there a year. He was from New York, and he did not like it over there. It was too boring. He wanted to be where the action was. And so we mutual. I went to the Cape, and he went on the boat I was on. And I found out later that 2 weeks after he went on her icebreaker, and I had to go over to Cape Lookout, actually.
I think you got the better end of that deal.
I think I did.
Aren't you glad you didn't go no icebreaker at that time? Yeah. So you came home. And you
I'm not finished with my runner now.
Oh,
I've got to tell you a story about her.
Okay.
Because I was talking about icebreaker. She was an ice-breaking boat. And the Potomac River froze over. I've talked to people that from that area, we talk about that year, and they say that year, it was in 1966, the winter, was the coldest year they can ever remember. The Potomac froze over completely. There was no other boat went on the Potomac except a fuel barge, a tug, and our boat.
Wow.
And the barge she had with fuel was taking it to Washington, D.C. And the only way that we had to go along with them, so when they get stuck in the ice, we would circle around and cut them out and keep them moving. They only had enough ice, enough fuel for Washington, D.C. for a 10-day period, and we had to do that in 10 days.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was so cold. I'm going to tell you how cold it was.
Oh, my goodness.
It was so cold that out on the wing of the bridge, it would get foggy and you couldn't see good. The radar and stuff, so they put an individual outside and you bundle up real good, and they wouldn't let you stay out there 15 minutes. It was so cold.
True.
Looking and see if you could see anything that, that they didn't pick up what time they were doing it. And when you go back inside, give you an idea how cold it was. A lot of people don't remember it, but they used to have a little sample whiskey bottle, a little thing of whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Like a airplane
type.
Type.
It was like a 3 or 4 ounce little bottle of whiskey, little samples. When we go back in, they would give us one of them little bottles of whiskey to thaw us out.
Wow.
So they didn't give me much whiskey in the Coast Guard.
Yeah, that wasn't a normal thing.
No, that was not really good.
That's cold.
And I know another time. I'm talking about this year, the buoy tender, because I got another story that was kind of rough. Mm-hmm. On a Christmas Eve night, every weekend they had 3 or 4 tenders, and they had to take duty in case something was to happen. They didn't have no Coast Guard station, so they were on standby for different things. So we got a call that there was 8 out over towards Eastern Shores, over toward the north end of the tunnel.
And when you say 8 out, that's a buoy, light or what? What's out?
Yeah, the way they would blink would tell you different things, and that would tell them where they were. And they said they had a wrong characteristic.
Okay, so it's blinking wrong.
So we had a little small boat in case if we ever sunk the big boat, we could get in there and save our life, I guess. But she was not very good. They didn't have no top cover or nothing on her. She didn't run about 7 or 8 miles an hour. But anyway, we got on that thing, had to go all the way across Chesapeake Bay. It was sleeting, Christmas Eve night. It took us half the night to get over there. We got over to it. It was nothing wrong with it.
No way.
We got up on it, checked it, make sure everything was right. It was right. Everywhere we went by, it was lost. They thought there was a different place.
It was a different buoy.
Different buoy.
Oh,
so we went all the way back, got back in around daylight. Christmas, and I mean, it was a bad night, so I just wanted people to remember how bad it was.
And you did that for nothing.
I did that. That was a Christmas Eve night, and
Uh-huh.
we didn't even see Santa Claus, and we was out there all night.
And you didn't see him?
No,
Nope.
he was a different way.
Well, gracious, that sounds terrible to me. Oh, that cold weather. So how long were you there on that?
I was there a year,
Okay.
and then I went to the Cape.
Okay, and then you mutualed and
Yeah.
went to the Cape.
And I was to the Cape a year.
Uh-huh. Well, how good was it to finally to be home? Was after being there?
It was very nice. It was very good over there.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete was there at the same time I was there too.
Mm-hmm.
And we would do a lot of things. I mean, you wasn't real busy over there. I mean, you had a lot of breaks in between times. Maybe we'd ride down the beach or something, or go over a hook line. We used to get out on the end of the dock there, and nights they had a light out there, and we catch some pretty flounders and stuff you ever seen. But anyway, we had some good times.
Did you eat them? Did you bring them in and cook them?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
Sometimes we might sneak them home. But one of the things I remember was to the foot of the dock, to the shore end of the dock. In the afternoon, certain time of year, the curlews would fly over, and we let the mean people let it get there. And I'm gonna let you guess if we shot them or not. I ain't gonna tell you, but it was real fun doing that. And
Just
we
looking
saw
at
a lot of
them.
ducks and stuff. We enjoyed things. And speaking about ducks, if you want to, I'll tell you about one of our chiefs.
Do? Yes.
Eugene Pond. He was a chief, and he from Beaufort, and he shot skeet for the Coast Guard. And he would have us boys to throwing up stuff all the time right back at the Coast Guard station. And
like he would represent the Coast Guard in competition?
Shooting skeet, yeah.
Okay.
And we threw it up, and people practiced,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if we see some ducks or something go by the station, he'd get in a truck, power wagon, and we'd ride down the beach. And I would go with him, but 90% of the time I'd ride down there with him. And one day he's called me over to me. I saw him coming. He called me and said, Davis, you can't go with me no more. I said, the boys are getting jealous. I said, fine, Chief, that's okay. I mean, that's up to you. I mean, it's all right. But it was just a few days later, about 4 or 5 days later, I saw him coming, kind of running, like half a run. He wasn't running too fast because he was a heavy guy. But anyway, he come running, and he said, Davis, I got to have some gun shells. I said, I don't have no gun shells. He told me I couldn't go no more. He said, yes, you have. Go and get them. I said, you told me I couldn't do it. I couldn't know it. He said, damn it, they ain't going to tell me what to do. You can go get me a gun and get you out.
He needed you.
So he needed me bad, so we went. I went with him.
I love
He
it.
said, they were not going to tell me what I can do about it.
So he had to change your heart.
He was a character.
Oh, man. I remember there was one story you told me about a really ugly turtle, sea creature that you saw. Do you know what story I'm talking about?
Yes, I remember. What was the name of that thing? It was.
I don't remember the kind.
It's the one that had horns on it.
Yeah, but go ahead and tell that story,
anyway.
and I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, I was coming across the hook, and then all of a sudden it was in the 30-footer, and we saw something black out there, and to the top of the water. We didn't know what it was, and went over to it, and it was this turtle. Look, it had mud on him. It looked like something prehistoric looking,
Mm-hmm.
And it was a real big turtle. I can't think of the name of it right now. But anyway, that's the only time I ever seen one. I had people talk to people before, said they had seen them around, but.
And I remember you saying that how big he was. Tell them in comparison to the boat.
I don't remember what I told you, so I might have a lie about this.
Well, I want to see.
About half the length.
That's what you had told me.
Did it really?
Yeah, it was.
Boy, that was a good one.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, it was a real big one. I hadn't seen anyone like that before. Loggerhead, was it?
No.
No, about loggerhead.
It was different. I'm looking to
Oh,
see.
anyway, she's going to find it. But anyway, I saw that there turtle. And then, let me tell you about another time about a whale. I know another gentleman, I was in here, was talking about a whale. They got hung up and got him off bleeding. But Kenneth Whitehurst was the boy stationed there with me. He was from Gloucester. And there was a whale on the eastern side of our dock, got up there and got his head up on the shore, and the tide was falling, and he couldn't get back off. So me and Kenny took a 30-footer and went over and tied a line on his tail and poked him off. And he went on out in the ocean. So we sounded like we rescued a whale one time.
Wow. Was it It must have been pretty big to
It
get
was
stuck
probably
on that.
about 30 foot, about 30 feet long. Big, good sized whale. He couldn't get back off.
Wow. The, the only turtle that's coming up, Daddy, is the Archelon. Archelon? I don't know if that's the one or not. Anyway, um, so you rescued a whale. Wow. What else happened over there? Because I bet y'all had to make your own. I mean, you had to pass the time somehow.
Well,
So.
you had to, you always had to stand watch somebody who had a tower and just do watches and stuff. One of the things I didn't like doing was on weekends, if it's pretty, we'd go boarding, we'd go and check other boats for life jackets and things. And I didn't enjoy doing that because I didn't like writing tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So I always give them just a warning, told them, next time, But it was one day we checked a guy, it was a lieutenant colonel. And I was looking at his driver's license, and he was a lieutenant colonel. And I said, "Well, now he could get me in trouble if I don't give him a ticket. He didn't have no fire extinguisher."
Oh.
So I wrote him a ticket. That's the only ticket I wrote.
Because you knew you better.
Yeah, because I figured I better do that. That's the only ticket I wrote.
Oh man. Well, how did y'all get supplies and stuff? Like, because there's no grocery stores or anything over there at the Cape. So how did y'all manage that?
The cook would order the groceries, and at the time they would get them. I don't know if people know the bill is. They would get everything to Billy, and he would have the order, everything ready for them.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have so much money he had to spend, or they would take it away from him.
Oh wow. Okay.
So sometimes we even have lobster over there.
Because whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was Jonesy was his name, and that was another thing. From the station to the where the galley was. It was outside, and you had to run to it. The mosquitoes so bad, man, they tie you up.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a nice pool hall over there too, over where the engine kept the engines out. They had upstairs there. They had pool table and stuff. We go over and shooting pool and stuff. It was pretty good duty.
Sounds like you had pretty good. Yeah.
And sometimes we go down and you probably heard of Les and Sally Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Had a store over there. And I enjoy going down to the store nights and stuff, and Les would tell us stories and stuff about the things that happen around there and different things.
How much older than y'all was he?
Who was Les? He was probably, I don't know, I'm guessing 15 years older, 15, 20 years older than us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how often did you get to come home when you were there?
Every other weekend, every other night, and every other weekend.
Every other night and every other weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing that happened. They had a fuel barge that you had to pull over, and they had a Harkers Marina down here where the picnic area is, down here to the point now. There was a marina over there, and we pulled a fuel barge in and get it filled up with fuel and take it back, and that's where they put it in the generators and the different thing, Me and Melvin Long pulled it in there one day, our 30-footer pulled the barge behind us, and we come up in Miss Harkers. It was the coldest time ever been. I mean, it was right in the middle of the winter. And some way they got too close together, and the line got wrapped around the propeller in a boat.
Oh no!
And you had, if you only had one vessel, one boat, if something happened to it, you had to call what was called Fort Macon or whatever, so they could be on standby until you could get it fixed. And we didn't want to let nobody know that we was out of order. So we took turns getting naked, I think, going under that boat trying to get that rope off.
Oh no!
He went the first time, I went the second time, and the third time he went and he got it off, and I was tickled to death.
Oh no!
But we was in a scrape for a while, but we figured it out.
So you didn't call it in?
No, I don't think we did. No.
Oh my goodness, Daddy.
Do different things,
Oh my gosh.
I don't think I can get in trouble now for it, can I?
No, I think, yeah, you're good. You're
right.
clear.
I thought we'd done a good thing.
So do you remember while you were over there getting any calls? Like did any distress calls or anything like that?
We didn't get a lot of calls. Most of our calls and stuff weekends, people were around getting broke down and that kind of thing. We didn't really, what time I don't remember rescuing anybody that was really that in danger, mostly. Mm-hmm. Things like that.
Yeah, you had to just keep things running and going.
Yeah, get ready, stand by. You never know when you're going to get one,
Yeah, yeah. So you had to maintain the lighthouse. That was the older lands.
We'd
go
to the lighthouse. Every week we'd go to the lighthouse, and at that time the lighthouse had a reflector behind it, and we would have to go around and keep cleaning that, shining it up. So because instead of circling, it would just reflect off that light and I know every Friday we had to go down and take that and just straighten up around her a little bit. That was like a Friday thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
So then you stayed to the Cape for
year.
a year, and then what?
I got transferred to Fort Macon for 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
See, they had to send me far away, didn't they?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
all
I
the
don't
way
know
to
what
Fort
they're doing.
Macon.
I told them one time that I was staying 30 years. They let me stay at the Cape, but they wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't do it.
But anyway, I've been at Fort Macon. I enjoyed it over at Fort Macon. Pretty good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What kinds of things did you do over there?
Well, routine things. I mean, working on the boats or the different things. I remember two different calls that I remember real good. A ship was going by offshore, far offshore, and a guy on was having a heart attack. And I had duty that weekend, and we had a 44-footer. She was one of the ones that you would roll over and come back up. You know, she was designed. You sat down in a seat outside, and the crew would get down and watertight.
Mm-hmm.
So if you flipped over, you had to be in the water.
Oh my goodness!
But anyway, we headed out on that and went to the ship, and we got him down. You know, lowered him down, put him in the boat. And I remember coming back in. I said, "We'll get him in as quick as I could," because she wasn't a real fast boat, but we couldn't get as hard as I could run her. And directly one of the boys opened the cabin and I said, "Davis," he said, "I got a request. This fellow right here got a request." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Would you please slow down?" He said, "You're going to kill me before my heart attack does." So I always remember that one, you know. So I said, "Okay."
You thought you were doing good.
Yeah. And another time we was over there and I was in the 40-footer. I just let her run the 40-footer. And we had to go to the Cape for some reason. But anybody around here knows that if it's blowing 35, 40 mile an hour out of the southwest and it's ebb tide, how rough it gets on the Beaufort Bar. Mm-hmm. It gets rough. Well, we were going to go over there, and we had a new cadet. Had just been sent there for some reason. He was with us, and we headed out, and we got there where it was a choppy. It was real bad that day. It really was. He came and told me, he said, "You got to turn this thing around." I said, "I'm not turning this thing around. That's the worst thing you can do. You can turn over, flip you over if you turn around rough as this is." He said, "It's too bad here." He said, "You need to turn this thing around." Like sassy, like I wouldn't turn around. After I went, in about 2 minutes, I was out there, out away from the ocean. It was pretty.
Right. And
I always thought when I went on to the Cape and come back, I said, "Now who write me up?" But he never said a word because I think he was embarrassed.
Right, because he saw you were right.
Yeah. I remember him trying to tell me what I was going to do, and I told him I wasn't going to do it.
No, because you knew that was foolish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it did get real bad there at times.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So you were at Fort Macon, and then what?
I got on McCullough.
Which was where?
In Wilmington. She was in Wilmington. Mm-hmm. I went on her, and it wasn't bad duty. But it was one of the times it was kind of bad. It was we had to go up by around Newfoundland, up by Greenland, somewhere up there in the wintertime, coldest time ever been. And out in the middle, kind of like the ocean, kind of out where we were there, we had a square that you had to stay in, that certain square. Mm-hmm. And as wind was to the north all the time, so you was always drifting back to the other side. And when you just get to the other side, you stay and go back. We stayed out there for 34 days. That's all we did. Only thing we saw was an ice break or some ice go float by, and one Coast Guard boat coming in. They come in, and we had to stay, and that was kind of aggravating, you know. But I had it made on her because I was the MA.
What's the MA?
They're the one that had to wake everybody up and make sure she was clean, all that kind of stuff. And it was so bad weather, the boys, some of them was feeling bad and stuff, and they wanted to get out of that cool breeze, but they couldn't go outside. They lock her down.
Oh.
But I could go outside because I was the one MA, and then I was supposed to check everything. Uh-huh. So it's mighty nice to go out and get cooled off something.
Get some fresh air.
And that's when I started drinking coffee too. Because every time I walk by this coffee place, I get me a cup of black coffee. Then I come back, get me another cup. So I just kept drinking coffee. all that.
Oh my goodness!
But that wasn't too bad a duty. That's where I was, and I found out something though. I was getting ready. I was getting out. I told them I was going to get out. You know, when my 4 years was up, and they kept telling me, "Say you need to stay in. You take that first class test because you can pass it." I said, "I don't want to pass it. I don't want to take it. I'm getting out." Yeah, but you need to do it. They kept on me until one day I said, I'm not taking it. Well, about 7 or 8 days before I got out, I found out the reason why. They was taking 2 or 3 off of this boat, 2 or 3 off of that boat, and they was getting a crew on another boat, getting her ready to go to Vietnam. And if they had sent me to Vietnam, I would have gone to Vietnam.
Yeah.
But that was the reason they wanted me to do it. They needed a first class.
They needed you to do that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But,
wow.
But I didn't do it. But I wouldn't take nothing for the Coast Guard. My father was in the Coast Guard, and I had a brother in the Coast Guard, and it was. Sometimes I wonder if it wouldn't be a good idea that when the boys got out of girls too was in the Coast Guard, out of graduating and go into service for a year. You learn how to take care of yourself and how to treat people and stuff. I mean, it's just a different world.
And I'm sure that there's got to be also a pride for your country too, right? Yeah. When you were in the Coast Guard in '66, Dwayna was born.
Yeah.
Right? So, and where were you then?
I was at the Cape.
You're at the Cape, right?
I think I'm pretty sure it was.
Now, when Tanya came
When Tanya was born.
Tell that little story.
I was on the McCullough. And that's when it was out there where was out there drifting with the ice.
Yep.
And I radioed when they called me up, came up to the bridge, and I went up there and they said, just told me that I had another new little daughter.
Little girl.
Yeah, and I was out there.
And you were out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Dwayna wasn't remember. I remember when I was to Wilmington, I was coming in on the boat, Lana and Dwayna, she had her dressed up little coat when they was on the dock.
Oh.
And I could spot them down on the dock. We was all standing on side the boat, She was down there waving. She didn't see me, but
just
she
waving.
wasn't very old, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's sweet.
And when Stacy was born, I don't know where I was. I can't remember.
Yeah, you were home.
Oh.
And I remember Mama always saying that she had fanned for Dwayna and Tanya because you were gone in the Coast Guard, and so I was yours, and so you had to. Make up. You had to tend to me.
Yeah,
make up for
I tend to. You want me to tell them the things I done?
No.
Okay.
No. We will not talk about that.
I know one time, though, I remember I was on the Madrona, the buoy tender. We weren't making very much money. I think my check was like $95, and Atlanta got $110. That's what we got, about $200 a month. And our rent was $40 plus, I had all these other things,
Yes.
But one of our treats was we would go to Shoney's once a month and get us a piece of strawberry pie.
Oh.
And that was our treat.
That sounds good.
And another thing about that where I should have learned something from that was one day I had picked up Tanya. Me and I picked up Tanya in college.
She was at Chapel Hill.
And and we was coming home, and we went by Shoney, and I said, "Let's get us a strawberry pie." And that's a good idea. So we stopped. I go inside. I said, "I want 3 strawberry pie." There's nobody else in there. Just take a seat. I'll get them. I sat there and I waited. I waited and waited and waited. I said, what in the world wrong? Have they closed up, left me in here? The right she come. I took 3 whole strawberry pies. She was going back there and fix for me. 3 strawberry pies.
And I bet you got them.
I went to the car toting them pies. In fact, the woman asked me, said, "Do you want some whipped cream?" I didn't have enough. I just had enough money to pay for the pies. I went to the car and they saw me come and said, "What has he done?" And then they started laughing. They knew what I'd done. So I didn't learn anything from getting that slice when I was in the Coast Guard.
Right.
I should have said slice.
Yes.
Don't say pie.
You should have said slice.
I should have sliced a pie.
And you.
But when I went in the restaurant the first time, I didn't say I want a slice of pie. I just said I want a pie.
You didn't have the heart to tell her you didn't want all 3?
I don't think I did. No, I ordered them and she went back and cooked them and me tell her I don't want them. No.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, that's one of the things.
So you ate pie for a long time.
I blame that on Coast Guard.
Yeah, there you go. Well, is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like to?
Well, I can tell about you when I tended to you when you were a baby.
No. That has nothing to do with Coast Guard. You were out.
I tended to you enough, though, after you got old enough to go with me in my boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you was my captain. You was, what's your name?
What was my name?
Your name was Lucy Lockett, Boat Doctor Davis.
That's right. I was Stacy Lucy Lockett, Bone Doctor Davis. That was my handle.
You get on the CB radio and talk nights, yeah.
I would. Well, thank you very much for coming back and for sharing this part of your life with us. And thank you for your service. And I love you very much.
Yep, wouldn't take nothing for my service. Recommend it to anybody. One of the best things I've ever done.
Very good to know. And
You can call me a coastie.
You're a coastie. That's right.
Thank you again for joining us to The Landing. This podcast is brought to you by the Core Sound Waterfowl Museum and Heritage Center. Tune in next week as we continue learning, sharing, and remembering together. If you'd like to hear more, check out our previous episodes where you get your podcasts. If you or someone you know is interested in being on The Landing, please reach out through the link in the description. Until then, stay safe and be kind.